is about humanizing e-commerce and how that is important in today's business world. So when you walk into your favorite store, you always want to be greeted, or you get greeted by the first person that sees you or the employee. And if you need any help, they tend to find you just have to ask, and somebody will help you through the store and help you find what you need. And that's exactly the connection that we as humans are looking for. And just because we're behind a screen, a computer screen, that doesn't mean that we're not looking for that connection as well. But is it possible to do that through a computer screen, through e-commerce? How do we create that connection that you have when you walk into a store and actually have it online? So humanizing e-commerce is the secret to actually separating your brand or your company from the other people or the other companies online. There's a sea of different companies and brands available today online, and this is exactly what will make yours stand out from the rest. So during the pandemic, e-commerce was actually the lifeline that helped a lot of businesses survive. Businesses that were able to quickly react and bring their business online if it wasn't already online were those that survived. Those that didn't have that reaction or weren't able to react as quickly either went out of business or suffered enough that it later killed them. And it also changed the way we do business now, because previously there were a lot of people who didn't have the affinity or weren't able to trust buying online enough. And nowadays, 96% of adults actually purchase online. So having an online presence and an e-commerce, so being online and having an e-commerce presence actually is the way to do business today. And it doesn't matter if you're selling a product, a service, or you're a nonprofit. Especially because the e-commerce sales worldwide is forecasted to reach $8.3 trillion by 2027. So if you're not online, you're missing out. This is exactly where we do business today. So what is e-commerce actually? On August 11th, 1994, the first actual sale actually happened online, and it was actually a Sting CD or CD-ROM at the time. That was the actual first transaction online. And this actually changed the entire way that we do business today, and this is actually how we do sales today. So e-commerce is simply, what is actually e-commerce? E-commerce is simply what we call when people or companies buy and sell goods online. If you have an internet connection and you're sharing or doing business online, that is what we call e-commerce. And it happens you can have e-commerce happen through social media, through apps, through marketplaces. As long as you have an internet connection, you can do e-commerce. So there are different types of e-commerce businesses. You have B2C, which is the business to consumer model, which is where companies sell the brand sells directly to the consumer. And some of the examples would be Warby Parker, Gymshark, Allbirds. There are endless amounts of brands that we can talk about. They go directly, they don't sell wholesale, they go directly to the consumer. Then we have B2B, which is business to business. So similar to B2C, a business sells online directly to another business, and usually this entails transactions that are larger, longer lead times, etc., because it's just business to business. Then we also have consumer to consumer, which is where the consumer can sell directly to another consumer, and this usually happens on platforms like eBay or Craigslist. And then we have C2B, which is consumer to business, which is where people can sell their services or products on a platform. And usually the consumer selling their services to a business. And this happens, for example, on Fiverr, for example. That's one of the examples. Now, in an endless sea of options nowadays, because you can find anything online, what makes your company stand out and your brand show up as the most humanized way possible in order to stand out amongst everybody else? What we need is connection, which is one of the most basic human needs. So according to Matthew Lieberman in his book, social, he states that we have three main needs as humans: food, shelter, and connection amongst humans. And this connection is something that we need even when we do business online. Even if we are through a computer, we're still really needing and wanting that human connection. So just because we're doing business through a screen doesn't mean we're not looking for it. Now let's talk about, for example, cable companies. Who here has an affinity or loyalty to Xfinity, Comcast, or AT&T? There is no need. If you just choose who you need to have, even though they give us exactly the service that we need in order to create, to actually do business online, because they give us the access to the internet, we really have, I don't know anybody personally who has any actual brand loyalty to any of either Comcast or AT&T. We just choose them based off of price and availability. Now, which one would you do business with as with a more of a connection? So what happens when you do business, when you don't have your business focusing on that human connection, is exactly that you have any competitor come into the market, do something a little better, connect with your audience a little better, and then you're left in the dust. And then your customers, your old customers, actually feel the same affinity to you as we feel to Xfinity, which is none. So the minute the competitor jumps in, it's all gone. So how do we start? Where do we start? We start with your brand purpose. What does your business stand for? The most important thing to know when you are trying to create a connection with your customer is that you need to understand who your customer is. Who is your avatar? We're going to call it your avatar. Who is your avatar? Who is your core customer? What do they believe in? What do they stand for? And what do you stand for? That speaks to your avatar as well. So
is that the same as the buyer persona?
It's the same thing as a buyer persona. Avatar, buyer persona, you can call them either your core customer, your valued customer. There's several ways to call them. I tend to call them your avatar. So you have to know your avatar's foundation. So what are your avatar's foundations? This is exactly when you understand how your customer speaks, how they feel, how they dress, how they act, especially how all the way that they live and that your customer actually reacts in their own life, and how they will interact with your brand. So you have to understand your core customer or your avatar in order to be able to speak to them correctly. And then you also have to understand and truly understand your mission, your company mission, and how your mission and your beliefs as a company or a brand affect and speak to your customer. Before you can communicate and connect with your client, you need to understand your mission, how your avatar speaks to your mission, and how your mission speaks to your avatar, and be able to communicate that evenly throughout your brand presence. You have to know, this all comes down to your brand's why. What is your why? And you need to know exactly what this is and how it feels in the eyes of your consumer. And when you know your avatar and you understand your audience beyond just your KPIs and data, and you understand who this person truly is, then you'll be able to spread your mission, spread your information, and actually speak to your customer where they believe that you're speaking to them directly and personally. How do we actually humanize e-commerce? How do we do this and create more of a human feel and a human touch to an e-commerce business? So creating a tailored experience for your customers is where you start. You have to create a whole experience and the clear understanding of your avatar and well-defined message for your brand in order to communicate better with your customer. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so this is a perfect example. This is a great brand called Upcircle. And they actually create a whole, they have a whole customer journey where they take their customer and share their values and their mission with their core avatar. And they know exactly who their avatar is. So they send out great emails and also share on social media their message as founders, why they started the company, who they are, who's behind the company. They send out emails showing who their team is, how their team keeps growing, what products their team members truly like, and why they like these products. And then they also share part of their mission, which is shared by their avatar. They are, like they say, it's not just about skincare. There's a skincare brand, obviously. They actually are very careful about what they stand for. They make products that are all upcycled. That's why they're called Upcircle. They're all upcycled. They're all recycled and are all made in or sold in glass bottles, recyclable products, and then you don't even have to buy the whole bottle. You can replace the product without throwing out the bottle. So this is something that they truly believe in and their avatar believes in, and they express this in their marketing as well, which is also, again, social media, SMS, email, etc., where they talk about how important being sustainable is to them, which is also talking to their avatar very clearly. So you're starting to understand how the brand is very close to their avatar, understands their avatar, speaks to their avatar, and you create a more close connection between the brand and the consumer. So creating a connection with your customer is reinforcing those brand values, like we just said, and do it throughout your entire communication, be it on social media, on your website, through online or offline. The message is always the same, and it's always the core message. Now, one of the reasons why we've added here Messi is because I'm going to talk about Inter Miami and what they've done as well. Okay, so when a brand values their customers enough to listen to their thoughts, ideas, and pain points, it creates loyalty and trust. So when a brand listens to their customer and doesn't just ignore them and just throws out whatever they think that their customers want, but they actually listen, this is where you create community. And when you create community, then the brand grows with their customers instead of in spite of or besides their customer. They grow together. And the more you listen to your customer, the more the customer will become part of the brand and part of the experience. In the case of Inter Miami, they have a community called La Familia. And all of their marketing is done in Spanglish because that's how we speak in Miami. We do it all in Spanglish. So through La Familia, they actually interact, the players interact more with the community, the players and the whole team actually have a lot more events that include the customer, their true avatar, their core avatar, and it brings everybody together. And it's caused, we didn't have fanatics, Inter Miami fans to an extreme that wanted, that have bought out every single t-shirt, every single game has been sold out 24 months ago. This is what Messi has also contributed. But the fact that they brought everybody in, that they continue to bring everybody in and engage their customer at every step of the game, even before the games, after the games, in between games, even when it's off season. They're exchanging ideas and they're actually listening to their customer constantly. So they're bringing in everybody through a community that they've built that turn into super fans. So the secret to creating loyal customers for any e-commerce brand is creating that connection with customers. Once you have what eventually turn into super fans, there's no way you can go wrong with e-commerce. Using today's technology in order to create this connection. And how do we, where should we be? Where should our brands be in order to create this connection and this humanity, bringing the humanity into the brand? Well, we have to have an omnipresent channel nowadays. There has to be a connection between the message that is spread throughout any of the channels where the brand is located. So we have the e-commerce channel, we have a website, which, if it's a service, consumer products or a nonprofit, doesn't matter. Once you have your website, then you also have SMS, email, social media. You've got every single, do you have a question? But you have every single, sorry, it's okay. You have every single area where you can where your brand should be located, where should be speaking to their customer, but you shouldn't spread your message out too much. You should find where your customers are, where they, let's say, hang out online and offline, and bring them all together and actually make sure that your core message and your mission and your message is exactly the same throughout every single platform. So there's never a confusion, and your customer always knows who you are and understands where you're coming from with the same message with no confusion. So this is also a great example of how to humanize a brand. So this is Chewy. I bet most of you know who Chewy is. Chewy.com, great company that sells all kinds of products for your pets. There was a customer who had a little dog, and he received pet food automatically every month. And unfortunately, his pet passed away. So he wrote to Chewy and sent them an email saying, my dog passed away. I haven't opened this bag. Would you take it back? Chewy not only responded with, don't worry, you don't have to give us the bag back. We'll refund the money. You can donate the bag. But they also went ahead and sent him a handwritten note saying how sorry they were that he had lost his pet, and sent him a hand-painted oil painting of his dog.
That's awesome.
So this is the best way to humanize a brand. Not only are they showing that they care, that they're not just a corporation behind a screen, they're actually humans that care, and they care about their customers. This was taken obviously offline, but then went back online when this was so impressive. The owner of the dog posted it everywhere online. So yeah, he's posted it on Facebook. So that obviously affects, not only are you creating a customer for life with loyalty, because how you've actually humanized the whole transaction. It's not about the transaction anymore. It's about the relationship now, the customer between the customer and the brand. But now he's shared it with everybody else in his circle. And he's shared how touching and how human the people behind this brand are.
And actually, sorry to interrupt you, but actually they're doing when you call another dog, he's going to,
exactly.
use them.
Complete loyalty.
I love it. That's so nice.
In fact, me telling you the story will probably make you think twice again next time you want to buy dog food about who to buy it from. Yeah, because that is what truly humanizing a brand is like, and what it would be.
You switch from Amazon to Chewy.
Yeah, do you have loyalty for Amazon? Or do you just go there for convenience? So when we talk about humanizing e-commerce, we talk about businesses that we're separating brands that are push brands from pull brands. When we talk about push brands and pull brands are those that just want to sell, and they're pushing themselves on you. Pull brands are brands that bring you in and want you to be part of who they are. And there is no better example on the planet than Apple. Apple is the king of pull brands. There is no other brand that people will be in line for over 48 hours just to get a product that you can wait just 4 more days and get without being in line outside of a store. You have Apple fans that don't use anything but Apple and refuse to use anything but Apple. That's a pull brand. Why? Because they don't sell a product, they don't sell phones, they don't sell computers. They sell an idea, they sell a mission, they sell an identity. They know their avatar so well that they know that their customer is that rebel, the one that doesn't want to do things like everybody else, the one that doesn't want to have a computer that looks like everybody else's in an accounting firm. You stand out from everybody else. And that's about it for today. I can go on, but I don't think you want to be here for 4 hours. So that's my contact information if anybody needs anything, and if anybody has any more questions.